both Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin traveled to the war's front lines. Zelensky visited soldiers in Donetsk. Putin met his commanders in Luhansk and Kherson. Meanwhile, fighting is raging in and around the city of Bakhmut. Ukrainian forces claim to be holding the city despite Russian attacks. Evan Gershkovich, the American reporter arrested in Russia on espionage charges, has lost the appeal against his arrest. Court documents gave only a basic outline of the case against Gershkovich. He is accused of collecting state secrets about the military-industrial complex in Russia. Poland has agreed to lift a ban on the transit of Ukrainian grain and food products. The breakthrough comes after 2 days of talks in Warsaw. Poland, Hungary and Slovakia have banned Ukrainian grains to protect their local markets. Poland had also banned their transit but has now agreed to transit monitored shipments. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has condemned the war in Ukraine. While speaking at a lunch with Romania's president, Lula reiterated that a group of neutral nations must come together to help broker a peace deal. Lula has pitched himself as a peace broker to end the war. The comments come after a White House official accused Lula of parroting Russian and Chinese propaganda without looking at the facts. Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov met Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in Caracas. During the meeting, Lavrov handed a folder of documents sent by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Earlier, Lavrov said that Russia and Venezuela are set to expand their cooperation agreements in energy, investment, trade and finance. Venezuela is a close ally of Russia and Maduro has been vocal about his support for Putin. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has ordered officials to launch the country's first spy satellite. He said that boosting reconnaissance capabilities is a priority to counter threats by the US and South Korea. In December, North Korea conducted what it called an important final phase test of a spy satellite. The country's official news agency has reported that the satellite production has been completed. Fighting continues in Sudan despite a 24-hour ceasefire. The two sides, that is Sudan's army and the Rapid Support Forces, accused each other of violating the ceasefire. Clashes re-erupted between the rival forces in central Khartoum. Over 270 people have been killed due to the clashes that began on Saturday. UN Aid Chief Martin Griffiths has said that there are reports of attacks and sexual violence against aid workers in Sudan. Griffiths added that humanitarian aid workers and facilities continue to be targeted. He called it an unacceptable act that must stop. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has accused the Pentagon of spying on his government. He said, and I quote, "We are going to safeguard information from the Navy and the Defense Ministry." The accusation comes days after online leaks of US secret military records. The leaks showed that the US spies on its allies. The Pentagon has called the leaks a criminal and deliberate act. A 4-story parking structure collapsed in New York City's Manhattan area. At least one person has been killed and 5 others have been injured. Robotic devices and firefighters have been deployed to help in search and rescue operations. No foul play has been suspected. A fire broke out in a hospital in Beijing. 21 people have been killed. Staff helped evacuate more than 70 patients after the fire broke out. Some people tried to escape by climbing out of the windows using makeshift ropes. Others took refuge inside air conditioning units. The cause of this fire is under investigation. The United Nations has said that it's ready to withdraw from Afghanistan. This is if it fails to convince the Taliban to allow local women to work for the organization. The UN has expressed serious concern over the Taliban's decision to ban Afghan female staff members from reporting to work. The organization said that life-saving aid in the country would be at risk without female staff. The president of Zimbabwe has vowed that general elections will be free and fair. The elections are expected to be held later this year, but no date has been announced yet. The country's president is seeking re-election. His party has been accused of using violence and intimidation to instill fear in opponents during the election. Thousands of people from all over the world took part in the March of the Living. This was to commemorate the victims of the Holocaust. People marched on a path linking former Nazi concentration camps at Auschwitz and Birkenau. More than 1 million Jewish people perished in the gas chambers and due to starvation, cold and disease at Auschwitz. Pakistan's KHYBER Pass witnessed a landslide during a thunderstorm. At least 3 people have been killed and dozens are feared trapped. The landslide happened on the main route that connects Pakistan with Afghanistan. It's a major transit point for trade between South Asian nations and Central Asia. Hundreds of forest fires have destroyed over 64,000 hectares of pine forests in Honduras this year. Authorities say that around 70% of the fires were caused by criminals and the rest by poor agricultural practices. Last year, more than 1,000 forest fires destroyed over 98,000 hectares of land in Honduras. The United Nations has said that 48 million people in West and Central Africa face acute food insecurity in the coming months. This will be triggered by the climate crisis, COVID-19 and rising food prices. West and Central Africa has faced increasing risk caused by high temperatures and erratic rainfall. The ongoing war in Ukraine has contributed to food and fertilizer shortages. Colombia's army is gearing up for a possible volcanic eruption. The Nevada del Ruiz volcano has been emitting plumes of smoke and ash. Authorities are updating the population about the volcano's activities and delivering first aid kits. The volcano had erupted in the year 1985 and killed more than 25,000 people. It was Colombia's biggest ever natural disaster. Chile's government has approved an environmental permit for an extension of a copper mine project. This will cost about $3 billion. The extension seeks to sustain production levels and extend the mine's life to 2036. Environmentalists and social groups have criticized the move. They say it'll have a long-term impact on nearby glaciers and the water supply in the area. The European Union has approved reforms to make its climate change policies more ambitious. This includes upgrading the bloc's carbon market. The market aims to hike the cost of polluting in Europe. The carbon market forces power plants and factories to buy carbon dioxide permits when they pollute. Under the upgrade, factories will lose the free CO2 permits by 2023. Facebook owner Meta Platforms is set to commence a fresh round of layoffs. The move will reportedly wipe away nearly 4,000 positions. This comes as part of the company's cost-cutting move. The job cuts will impact all its verticals, including Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Reality Labs. Walt Disney is also reportedly planning to cut thousands of jobs starting next week. This will include 15% of the staff in its entertainment division. The layoffs will affect the TV and film unit, as well as theme parks and corporate positions. Disney will lay off employees from every region where it operates. Netflix has reportedly added more than 1 million subscribers in the first quarter of this year. The streaming giant is also expanding its plan to crack down on unsanctioned password sharing. The company is rolling out a paid password sharing option. Currently, the option is available only in 12 countries. The company will expand the option in other countries by the second quarter. Flexible workspace provider WeWork has received a non-compliance notice from the New York Stock Exchange. A non-compliance notice is served when a company fails to maintain the terms imposed by the stock exchange. The notice comes after WeWork's stock closed below $1 on average for over 30 consecutive days. The notice will not result in immediate delisting of the company. It will have 6 months to regain compliance. Goldman Sachs is exploring the sale of its Green Sky fintech business. Green Sky facilitates home improvement loans to customers. This is Goldman Sachs' latest move to scale down its retail ambitions. Goldman had acquired Green Sky in 2021 for more than $2 billion. Apple and Google have raised concerns with Amazon over its Kindle app. This comes after reports that the app allowed children to access sexually explicit photographs. Google has reportedly said that its Play Store does not allow apps that contain or promote sexual content. WhatsApp, Signal and 5 other messaging services are opposing Britain's proposed policy on encryption. Britain has asked regulators to identify child sexual abuse over messaging platforms like these. However, the companies argue that it would not be possible with end-to-end encryption in place. If implemented, Britain's policy would indirectly force the companies to break end-to-end encryption in private messages. European public broadcaster Swedish Radio has said that it will quit Twitter. However, it says that the decision was taken because the company felt Twitter had lost relevance amongst the Swedish audience. It did not blame Twitter's new policy of labeling public broadcasters as government-funded. Berlin-based photographer Boris Eldagsen rejected a prize from the Sony World Photography Awards. He had entered an AI-generated image into the contest to see if his work would be accepted. However, after his win, he refused to accept the award. He said that AI images and photography should not compete with each other. Two Russian cosmonauts have ventured outside the International Space Station for orbital maintenance work. Sergey Prokopyev and Dmitry Petelin performed the spacewalk to relocate a radiator. A new spacewalk is scheduled next week to finish the mission. Moving on to sports, in cricket, Mumbai Indians beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by 14 runs in last evening's IPL match. It was at Hyderabad's Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium. The match was a special moment for Sachin Tendulkar and his fans around the world. His son Arjun Tendulkar picked up his maiden wicket. The left-arm pacer gave away only 5 runs in the crucial 20th over of the match. Rajasthan Royals will take on Lucknow Super Giants in IPL 2023's match number 26. This will be at Jaipur's Savai Mansingh Stadium this evening. Having won 4 out of 5 matches this season, Rajasthan are looking to continue their brilliant form that sees them at the top of the table. On the other hand, Lucknow are ranked in the second spot with 3 wins out of 5 matches. Their clash will begin at 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Australian batter David Warner has been retained in the squad for the upcoming Ashes series. Along with Warner, Marcus Harris and Matt Renshaw have also secured a spot in the Aussie squad. 36-year-old Warner had been suffering from an elbow injury which had raised doubts about his selection. Australia will face arch rivals England in the Ashes series in June. In football, the American and Mexican national football teams will square off in the first Continental Clasico series. The two squads will be missing several regulars as clubs have not released players to play for their national teams. The match will be played on Wednesday as the two rivals will face off for the 75th time. AC Milan beat Napoli to reach the Champions League semi-final thanks to a first-half goal from Olivier Giroud. The Napoli's Victor Osimhen scored the equalizer on a penalty. However, Napoli lost to Milan on a 2-1 aggregate. AC Milan will now face the winner between Inter and Benfica, who play each other on Wednesday. Real Madrid breezes past Chelsea to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Real Madrid's Rodrigo scored twice for his club in the second half of the match. The Brazilian's double gave Real Madrid a 4-0 aggregate win over Chelsea. Real's victory sets them up for a mouth-watering clash against Manchester City. Inter Milan's coach Simone Inzaghi said that he had no qualms about being the centre of criticism. Inzaghi has been under fire as Inter have not been able to win their last 5 league games. Inzaghi said that he welcomed his criticism as long as the players were protected. Inter have a 2-0 lead over Benfica and will play against them on Wednesday in the Champions League quarter-finals. Juventus will attempt to overturn a 15-point deduction in the Serie A this season. They will appeal in front of Italy's top sports court. 11 former agents and current Juventus officials have been accused of fixing their balance sheets with artificial gains from club transfers. With 8 games left to play this season, a 15-point deduction would remove Juventus from various European championships. In American football, Buffalo Bills' defensive player Damar Hamlin has been cleared by medics to return to the league. Hamlin had suffered a cardiac arrest during a match against Cincinnati Bengals in January. Medical specialists have cleared Hamlin's return, a decision that once seemed impossible. Russia's men's basketball team has been banned from competing in the 2024 Paris Olympics. The international governing body of basketball, the FIBA, issued the ban following orders from the International Olympic Committee. Along with Russia, the men's team of Belarus has also been banned from the Paris Olympics. Streaming platform Amazon Prime Video has launched an AI-generated dialogue boost feature. It'll allow viewers to raise the volume of dialogues. Prime Video uses AI to spot where dialogue may be tough to hear in videos. It then isolates the speech and enhances audio to make it clear. The feature is currently available on select Amazon original shows. Comedian Aziz Ansari is ready to make his feature film debut. It'll be in a comedy film titled Good Fortune. It stars actors Keanu Reeves and Seth Rogen. Shooting for the film will begin in Los Angeles next month. Actor Charlie Sheen and producer Chuck Lorre are reuniting for a new comedy show. Sheen will have a recurring role in the show How to Be a Bookie. This will bring Sheen and Lorre together after 12 years. The duo is most famous for the 2003 comedy series 2.5 Men. Actors Halle Berry and Angelina Jolie are set to star in a new thriller film. This will be the first time the two will work together. Berry and Jolie will also co-produce the film. The yet untitled film will be directed by Roseanne Liang. The Swiss production titled The Song of Scorpions will finally release in India on the 28th of April. The film premiered at the Locarno Film Festival in Switzerland in 2017. It is late Indian actor Irfan Khan's last feature film. The film also stars Iranian-French actor Golshifteh Farahani. Warner Bros. Studios is celebrating its 100th anniversary with a special lineup of films. The studio has ordered short film adaptations of 6 classic movies. They'll run for 20 minutes each. Some of the films on the roster include A Star is Born and Rebel Without a Cause. The 2023 Tribeca Festival has announced its film lineup. The festival will screen 109 feature films by 127 filmmakers from 36 countries. Documentary and animated films will also be screened. The Tribeca Festival will take place between the 7th and 18th of June in New York. The Cannes Directors Fortnight has announced its lineup of films for this year's edition. A total of 20 films will be screened at the 55th Directors Fortnight. Indian French production Agra by director Kanu Bail is also part of the lineup. The screenings will take place between the 17th and 26th of May. The Phantom of the Opera musical hit record-high collections in its final week at Broadway. The show brought in an all-time record of $3.7 million. Proceeds from one of the final shows were donated to 4 New York City arts organizations. The Phantom of the Opera ran on Broadway for 35 years. A man in Kentucky in the US is taking Netflix to court. The man, identified as Taylor Hazelwood, alleges that Netflix used his photo without his knowledge. The photo was shown in this year's crime documentary, The Hatchet-Wielding Hitchhiker. He's suing Netflix for $1 million for defamation and misappropriation of likeness.